Yeah.
All right, y'all. So today I literally didn't even. All right, y'all. So today I didn't even get to post the of me a sleep stream yesterday because something was wrong with my uh something was wrong with my live streaming dashboard. I was trying to go live stream with the monitor, but then the live stream it kept cutting off. It kept cutting off my sleep stream, so I wasn't able to do a sleep stream yet yesterday. So I changed it to playing because GTA is the only thing I've been playing. I only played it for like 7 minutes, and then like right after that, I wait. Nah, I just played it for like I think yeah, I'm pretty sure I played it for like 30. minutes or 7 minutes, or maybe not, or maybe like 6 minutes. So yeah, that's why I changed it. So today I might post a sleep stream today, and now we're already live. So you might watch a YouTube first before we do a sleep stream, y'all. So I want y'all to be patient on that. Before we get in that, I don't need this ad.
There's something
Hold on, let me lower.
dangerous of abducting children in this area. Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary?
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. All right, y'all.
You've heard of the Slender Man, but have you heard of the tall, slender woman?
What was he
This
talking
next
about?
chapter is a Japanese urban legend called Hachishaku-sama, which means 8 feet tall.
Whoa.
My grandparents lived in a small village in Japan. Every summer, my parents would take me there on
Is this
holidays to
real?
visit them. The last was the summer when I was 8 years old. My grandparents were inside the house, and I was playing by myself outside in the backyard. I heard a strange sound.
Thumping sound?
I didn't know what it was, and it was hard to figure out where it was coming from. I was looking around, searching for the source of the noise, when I noticed something on top of the tall hedges that enclosed the backyard. It was a straw hat.
Okay.
It wasn't resting on the hedge, it was behind it.
Okay.
That's where the sound was coming from.
Okay.
Then the hat began to move.
Okay.
It stopped at a small gap in the hedge, and I could see a face peering through.
Yes. No.
It was a woman, but the hedges were high, almost 8 feet tall. I was surprised at how tall the woman was. I wondered if she was wearing stilts or some sort of huge high-heeled shoes. Then, a split second later, she walked off, and the strange noise disappeared with her, fading into the distance. Confused, I got up and ran back into the house. My grandparents were in the kitchen drinking tea. I sat down at the table and told my grandparents what I had seen. They weren't really paying attention to me until I mentioned that distinctive sound. They both froze.
Oh no.
Grandma's eyes grew wide and she covered her mouth with her hand. Grandpa's face became very serious and he grabbed me by the arm. This is very important, he said, very intensely. How tall was she?
8
As
feet.
tall as the garden hedge? Where was she standing? When did this happen? What did you do? Did she see you? I tried to answer all his questions as best as I could. He rushed out to the hallway and made a phone call. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but after he hung up, he walked out the door. Grandma, what's going on? There's something dangerous of abducting children in this area. She said, we call it Hachishaku-sama. Children in this area. We call it Hachishaku-sama. It takes on the appearance of an extremely tall woman and says, in a deep voice.
Whoa.
A long time ago, it was captured by monks and they managed to confine it in a ruined building on the outskirts of the village. They trapped it using 4 jizo. small religious statues that they placed at the north, south, east, and west of the ruins so that it could not escape. But somehow, it did. The last time it appeared was 15 years ago. My grandmother said that anyone who saw it was destined to die within a few days. It all sounded so crazy. I wasn't sure what to believe. Just then, my grandpa came back, but with an old woman who called herself Keisan. They took me upstairs to my bedroom and began covering the windows with newspaper, with ancient runes written all over them. Keisan placed small bowls of salt in all four corners of the room and a small Buddha figure in the center.
Soon the sun will be setting, so listen carefully. You must stay in this room until 7:30 tomorrow morning. Do not
Why does her
open
voice
this
sound like
door
that?
for any reason.
She placed a bucket in my hands.
Not even to use the restroom.
Nah. There should be no way that her voice sound like this. Her voice sounded like a man. No way that her voice sound like that. If she's an old woman, that means her voice would never be sounding like that. Why? Like, isn't that weird?
My grandparents and Keisan left the room, and I locked the door after them. I couldn't believe what was happening. Was I really going to die in a few days? I turned on the TV to try to take my mind off everything and eventually fell asleep. I was awakened around 1 a.m. by a tapping sound on the window.
Oh, okay.
It's probably just a tree or something, I told myself.
Someone might be knocking.
Then came a knock on the door, and I heard my grandpa's voice. Are you okay in there? If you're scared, I can come keep you company. Hearing his voice was such a relief
something was wrong.
that without thinking, I rushed over to the door. But something didn't feel right. I looked at the bowls of salt in the room. All four of them had turned black. And then I heard the sound again.
Oh, I knew something was going to be wrong.
The tapping on the window continued. I knelt in front of the Buddha and began to pray.
Something was going to be wrong.
I was so terrified and caught up in my chanting that I didn't realize the sounds had stopped. I checked my watch. It was 7:30 a.m. Carefully, I opened the door and ran to my grandparents. We all got in a van and headed straight for the airport. Apparently, there were others who had escaped the grasp of Hachisaku-sama, as long as they never stepped foot in Japan again. So 2 years ago, when my grandpa got sick, he refused to let me visit him. He even left strict instructions in his will to not let me attend his funeral. I couldn't believe that this creature prevented me from saying goodbye to him. So when my grandma called a few days ago to tell me she had been diagnosed with cancer, I wasn't going to let her stop me from visiting. It's been 10 years, Grandma, and nothing has happened to me. We don't even know if this thing is real. I'm not going to let it stop me from seeing you. If you say so, dear. I love you, Grandma. I'll see you soon.
Oh!
Like this video if it gave you the chills. And don't forget to subscribe to Snarl.
No. Nah. Something was fishy. I knew. Yo, I might start watching something else. Let me watch something else. I would have waited till noon. Oh, wait, I forgot this thing. I forgot about this thing.
Hi, audience. It's your Ate Sapphire. If you want to listen to the extended version of this episode, the link is in the description below. Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary?
Of course. Of course.
The Chalva.
Inspired by Gorov.
Our first chapter is inspired by true events that happened to Gorov from India. This happened when I was about 11 years old and lived with my 17-year-old sister Manika and my grandmother. I was sitting at the table eating dinner with my grandma when Manika quickly rushed inside. "You're home late," Grandma commented, but Manika didn't respond. Grandma called over to her to join us for dinner, but she just walked right past us and straight to her room. "Teenagers, so moody," Grandma said. I was pretty close to my sister. We would talk about anything. She did have a tendency to be moody, but I could feel that something was different about tonight. So after dinner, I gently knocked on her
What's wrong,
door
my
and
friend?
asked if everything was okay. "I just need to be alone right now." I shrugged and headed to my own room, followed by our family dog, Snoopy. I laid in bed. I was having a hard time falling asleep. I felt really anxious and restless for some reason. I didn't
Something's
understand
wrong,
why.
my Chromebook.
Hours went
Something's
by,
wrong.
and I had given up on trying to fall
My
asleep.
monitor.
I decided to take
It keeps
Snoopy out
busting.
for a 3 a.m. walk. The neighborhood was quiet and calm. Snoopy was happily sniffing around. Then I heard a rustling from a bush a couple meters in front of us. From the bushes emerged what looked like a mangy black dog. There were a lot of strays in this part of town, so I wasn't too surprised and continued. But Snoopy wasn't moving. I looked down and was shocked to see him low on the ground, sneering. "It's just a dog, Snoop," I said as I yanked on his leash. But Snoopy was not budging. His sneering turned into growling. I looked back towards the stray dog and watched as the dark figure stood up, reaching its full height. That was no dog.
Whoa.
At this point, Snoopy was barking wildly at the creature.
Whoa.
I pulled his leash and ran in the opposite direction. I could hear the booming footsteps of that thing chasing after us.
Why would you play
Oh,
with me?
that's
It
creepy.
asked
That's creepy.
tauntingly. I refused to turn around or speak to it. My grandmother was a very spiritual person, and she had always told me to never engage with a spirit that's trying to get your attention. That's how you invite them into your life. So I just kept running,
Oh.
Snoopy following closely by my side. Luckily, my neighborhood had a lot of temples, almost one every 200 meters. I ran towards one of them and slammed the door shut behind me.
Oh.
I waited and listened.
Yeah, I tried listening.
The footsteps outside slowed down and came to a halt. I'll come back for you. Around and caught my breath.
I think he said
Snoopy and I
come
stayed
back for
there
you.
until the sun rose. When we got back to our house, my grandmother and sister were already at the dining room table eating breakfast. "I saw something last night. It was this thing. It was chasing us." I was struggling to find the words to describe what I saw, but even then, my grandmother knew what it was.
Oh, God.
"You didn't talk to it, did you?" "No, of course not. But Grandma, what was that?" "It was most likely a chalava. It means illusionist or a shapeshifter. They're created when an unborn child dies and the respected ceremonies aren't performed. And since the child's spirit couldn't take a good earthly form, they inhabit whatever form they can. Usually a malicious one." Manika covered her mouth. This seemed to really be upsetting her. "Where did you see the chalava?" Grandma asked. "Out by that field where the stray dogs usually are." "Ah, that makes sense. There used to be a hospital over there. It was shut down when they discovered that a doctor was performing unauthorized abortions." Manika burst into tears. "You've been acting so strangely lately." "That chalva, it's my fault. I'm so sorry, Gorov." Manika ran back to her room. My grandma told me that she was just being moody, but it wasn't until a few years later that I fully understood. what had happened that night. Want more something scary? You can listen to the extended version of this episode on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts. The link is in the description below. Like and share this video if it gave you the chills. And don't forget to subscribe to Snarled and turn on the bell.
This thing is enough for me. I'm gonna watch one more snarl and then we'll wrap this thing up. I'm gonna watch one more snarled. We're gonna watch one more snarled and we're about to wrap this thing.
Take what you do best and create a website that's worthy of it.
Commercial.
With AI website creation.
Hi, Oddings. It's your Ate Sapphire. Before we get into this week's episode, I want to tell you about one. Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary? Game of the Red Eye. The following story was inspired by Lilith Wrongname.
Hold on, let me get some water.
When I was 14 years old, my friends and I were chatting at our usual spot before school. My friend Nicole started telling us about this one game she'd heard about called the Game of the Red Eye. If you follow all the instructions exactly, you would be able to undo one thing that has happened to you in your life. You can erase any moment that has caused you immense pain, and your life would continue as if it never happened, as long as you never told anyone that you played the game. Nicole continued to give us a detailed explanation of how to play. She really seemed convinced that it could be real. I've heard from multiple people that this really works, she tried to convince us. But how would you know? If it works, aren't you not allowed to say you did it? I argued. Nicole shrugged. I didn't want to admit it to my friends at the time, but I was definitely intrigued by this ritual because there was something that I wanted to undo. My best friend, Amelie, had passed away about a month or so before. She used to hang out with us at our spot before school, and I definitely took the loss the hardest. So the thought of possibly getting to undo her death, why wouldn't I want to at least try? My parents were out of town that night, so I'd be home alone. That was the first step. Be in your home all by yourself. Then I had to summon the creatures of the dark. I turned off all the lights, lit enough candles.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on.
Then I had to summon the creatures of the dark. I turned off all the lights, lit enough candles.
Actually, I'm gonna keep going.
So I could see my way and walked around, politely asking them for their assistance. Once I heard low growls echoing around me, that's how I knew the game had started. Everything that happened from here on out was happening on a different plane of existence than reality. At least that's what the rules
better
claim.
not have to
Next, I had to find my way to the nearest bathroom, stand in front of the mirror, and shut my eyes. Almost immediately, I heard a loud scream, crushed bones, and a little girl begging for help. I was not supposed to open my eyes no matter how tempting it was. Once all the sounds had stopped, I opened my eyes. Behind me, in the mirror, I saw a little girl with a red ribbon in her hair. She untied it and handed it to me. This was a key piece of the game, so I put it in my pocket door that now had a red knob. Once I found it, I entered the room. It was my bedroom, but it didn't look that way anymore. My bed and posters were gone. There was just a table with two chairs facing each other. One chair was empty, where I was supposed to sit, and the other chair was occupied by a shadowy creature.
Whoa. Bruh. Two of those red eye. Bruh, that's so creepy. Shadowy creature. Bro, I will never be in that place in my life.
Creature. I took my seat. There was a plate and a large knife sitting in front of me. I waited for my cue. Nail. A voice came from across the table.
Oh.
I took the knife and peeled off my thumbnail and placed it on the plate.
Oh.
The shadowy creature grabbed it and consumed it rapidly. Finger. I continued to offer it the parts of me that it requested and watched it scarf them down. Ear. Eye. And finally, heart. I took the eye and scarfed them down. Ear. Eye. And finally, heart. Requested and watched it scarf them down. Ear. Eye. And finally, heart. I took the red ribbon out of my pocket and placed it on the plate. The creature grabbed it and guzzled it down. It immediately choked on the thick fabric and fell over on the table. I walked over to it and lifted its head back up and reached inside its mouth. Inside was an eyeball with a red iris. This is when you make your wish. I closed my eyes and wished that Amelie had never gotten in that car accident that totaled her red Jeep, and that she would show up to school tomorrow like it never happened. I turned all the lights back on and thanked the creatures of the dark for helping me. The game was finished. Now I just happened. The next day at school, I saw my friends in our usual hangout. My heart was racing as I walked towards them. I was trying not to get my hopes too high, but I just really missed Amelie. The bell rang and we had to head to class. Everything okay, Lilith? Nicole asked. You've been really quiet all morning. I'm fine, I mumbled. This is gonna sound so stupid, but I actually tried that game last night, and I wished that Amelie would show up to school today like everything was back to normal, but I was just being stupid. Nicole just stared at me. Amelie just texted me. She's running a little late. What are you talking about? What game? My eyes lit up. There's no way. The game had actually worked, but I just told them that I played it. Did I break one of the rules? We heard a crash coming from the parking lot. It was Amelie's red Jeep. In my attempt to save myself some grief, I ended up losing Amelie twice. I don't know how I'm ever going to get over this now. Thank you to all of our patrons, especially Nicole, who had a character named after.
All right, y'all. All right. Time for the. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. Y'all, it's time for a sleep stream. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'll be back. This is good.